everyone to the Everything Show, episode 525. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Albert. What's up, Albert?
What's up, people?
What's up, Chris? L.
Hello, everybody.
What's up, Steampunk?
Hey, AmberStreet.com.
What's up, Daniel?
Hello, peeps.
Okay, so before we start with the news, two things. One, there was an incident before we went on air where accidentally Albert replicated himself 3 times.
Yes.
So there's a possibility that the people that wanted to come in here can't. I know Gloria had contacted me to come on, and Ray can't get in, I think, and Scott can't come in. So if you can't, text me back on Facebook if you guys can't come in, and then we'll have to create another one. I really wanted Gloria in here because she wanted to be in here. And let me just see. Is everybody reading me? No, the schmoogle is just schmoog. All right, so I'll have to repeat this message for the next one, I guess, if we can get Gloria in here. But I've been requested people wanted to say something to Gloria on the air. Or just a message. So, Gloria's mom had passed away. So, Carol Ann wanted to give her condolences to Gloria. And Connor had just contacted me. And from all the members of the Who crew, they wanted to give their condolences to Gloria. So, there's your message. And, we're all with you, Gloria, and our hearts are with you. And, it's really horrible what happened. And somewhere in heaven, your mom's up there. So, all right. Gloria, contact me if you can, or text me. Okay, so what do you have, Chris, with the news? I'm sorry, wait, did anybody want to say anything? I apologize. Albert, did you want to say anything, or no?
I just want to give my condolences to Gloria.
Okay. Daniel?
Yeah, me too. I'm sorry, Gloria, for what happened. This is terrible.
Steampunk?
Sorry for your loss. That sucks. I mean, it's bad.
Chris?
I'd rather just wait for her to be in here, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay. No problem. All right, so what news do we have?
You want me to do the Stallone one or the Superman one?
The Stallone one.
Okay. So, I think this came out today. It says here that Sylvester Stallone is permanently retiring the Rambo character. He will not be involved in the television series that they're making, and apparently there's not going to be any more movies with him as the character. So Rambo's pretty much done at this point, which I think is okay. I don't think they need to make any more. I think he's made enough. I liked the last Rambo, so I think him retiring the character is okay. Of course, there's going to be a Creed 2, obviously, because Creed did very well. Apparently, we're going to see someone return. I don't see any confirmation of any characters returning, but they do say that there's going to be a character returning from the old series in here, so
yeah,
it's interesting.
I know. I agree that Rambo. We're done with Rambo. And the way he played Rocky and Creed, you can continue to play him the same way. So I'm all for that. As far as a character returning, I really don't know how that's going to work. And I don't really know if that's a good idea. So
I was really hoping for like an elderly Rambo in a wheelchair with dual AK-47 mounted in the wheelchair, and then he has like he could spin it around and fire in the air. That would be awesome.
yeah.
Here's my question. Is he going to be able to do like his Expendables character?
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up because
Barney Ross, I think is his name. Because how's he going to do it?
Rambo is kind of too much for his body, so can he do Expendables? That's a good. How old is he now, though?
He's up there.
All right, I guess we don't know about that one. I thought he was.
Maybe they can do a CGI recreation.
Well, people had talked about them doing a CGI of him, like sort of like they did with Michael Douglas, with a flashback when Rocky was younger, which I don't really know if that's, you know. Chris, did you want me to mention who they were going to bring back, or?
Yeah. I mean, why not?
All right, so guys, the article says that they were throwing something around that somehow, I don't know if it's a dream sequence for whatever, but Carl Weathers would return as Apollo Creed as either a flashback or it could be a dream sequence or something, and they said something about maybe they would be showing stuff from the past and flipping back and forth. I really am kind of hesitant of that. I mean, if they brought any character back, like in flashbacks, I'd rather them bring back Paulie, for something, but...
Oh, we lost Daniel.
Oh.
Uh-oh, he'll probably pop
again.
Yeah, I never was a real big fan of Rambo or Rocky, and I really could give a flying freak less. That's my opinion about that.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So there he is. All right. Yeah, I think that. I don't know. I'd rather see. Let's just see Creed. I'm okay with seeing Creed 2. I don't. Whatever they do, we'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna speculate. It's too early, and they know what they're doing. Let's just see. But as far as Expendables, I really would hope you would do one more. But
the last Expendables was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It sucked really bad.
It was PG-13, and they leaked it.
Expendables 2 was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never saw the first one. It just didn't interest me.
Right.
You know what it is, Steampunk? It's one of those movies that, like, it has a terrible story, but if you just want to go in and laugh, that's what these movies are.
Kind of like Star Wars Holiday Special.
No, not as bad as that. Not as bad as that. There's actually some good moments in this, but
more like the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Listen, the prequels did have some good moments.
The problem with the last Expendables was they tried to take it too seriously, and it just kind of fell flat. And it was like,
Right. All right. What else do we have?
We have that Man of Steel article.
Yeah, let's do that.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me.
That's okay.
So this article probably won't. I mean, if this gets half the reaction that Man of Steel got, half of the people will be happy and half will really hate it. But it says Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice will not fix any of the problems that were in Man of Steel. They're just saying that this is just going to be it's just going to be its own movie. It's not going to try and go back and fix anything that people had a problem with in Man of Steel. I don't really think that they should try to fix anything other than anything that would carry over to this movie that might still be a problem.
Could they make it worse?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I had a lot of problems with Man of Steel. It just didn't feel like a Superman movie. It felt more like an alien invasion movie. And then Superman breaking Zod's neck, that's not Superman to me. That just seems a little bit too cold-blooded.
If you watched, like, Supergirl, I don't know if you guys watched Supergirl, but I guess according
I've seen the 2 episodes.
I guess according to Supergirl, Superman never killed anybody, so it's a different timeline.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a different universe. Supergirl, they are debating, what I understand, the producers are debating, they want to wait to see how well the ratings do by the end of the first season. They're debating whether to integrate Supergirl into the Arrow Flash universe.
Yeah, well, I heard it did do well, and they extended its 7 episodes to a full season.
Okay.
We still have no word if the Flash is going to appear. There's also talk of that Smallville's Superman is part of that universe.
Wow.
Well, I just recently watched all of. I'm all up to date with Flash season 2, and I really love the whole multiple universe storyline. That's a really excellent storyline. And
If
so,
if
yeah.
if Smallville Superman is part of the real universe of Supergirl, and if Flash crosses over with that, that means that the Arrow Flash universe is a Smallville thing. But then it would get really complicated because
Well, it can and it can not be at the same time. If you know what I mean.
right, they just may have the actor.
It'll
come
be in
as
the
Superman,
multiverse. It could be in the multiverse,
but
but
not
not.
necessarily Smallville universe. Right.
Smallville could be like Earth 3, because they've referred to it. They've only referred to Earth and Earth 2. But Smallville could be another Earth,
Right, because there was already an Arrow, a Green Arrow, and a Flash on.
Yeah, exactly. The Arrow from Arrow and the one from Smallville doesn't really
All right,
match
so I mean, it just may be Tom Welling, right? Possibly a Superman or something. Maybe we don't know yet.
Well,
But anyway.
Superman's made a cameo in Supergirl, but he's always seen in shadow. I guess that's done on purpose because then if they need to cast Superman for a TV series, they could bring in any actor they need to.
Right. Okay.
I know that when.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
No.
No, I know that when the show was first coming out, they were saying that it was part of the original Superman movies storyline, just without 3 and 4, and they were saying that it was like 1 and 2. But I don't think that they stood by that because that would seem a little too convenient to me.
Yeah. That's kind of.
Well, that Supergirl does have that kind of feel. I mean, it's more lighthearted. I've seen like the first 3 episodes of Supergirl. It's more lighthearted and it's not so dark and gritty like the Man of Steel.
Yeah. Well, that and I think they're going to introduce a Supergirl into the Man of Steel storyline because there was a prequel comic that's canon that were like if you went to see the movie early or something, if you went to like a Walmart thing. My friends and I did it. We went to a Walmart by us and they gave us these tickets. We bought these tickets for an early showing of the movie, like even earlier than the first showing. And when we went in there, we got a free comic that you could download. And in the comic, it shows 2 Kryptonians arriving to Earth during like the Cretaceous period. And they get their powers and stuff, and one of them was Supergirl. So I don't know what they're planning to do with that, but
Really?
Yeah,
far back?
There was a pod. There was a pod in Man of Steel that when he first goes to what I'm guessing was supposed to be the Fortress of Solitude. He goes in there, and you see that there's a pod open already, and that was her pod.
So she got there before he did.
Yeah, she got there a long time before he did, apparently.
So she's probably dead already.
Well, no. Apparently they're planning on putting her in the movie somehow, like eventually.
Oh, so wait, she's been around for what? How many years?
I might be wrong with the years, but I know she got there long before he was there. It was like 100 or something years before he was there, or something like that.
My God.
At least 100 something years.
Wow.
When I remember reading it, there were dinosaurs in that friggin' thing. I know that, but I might be mistaken.
Well, then that would be millions of years if there was dinosaurs.
I mean, I'm on medication right now, so I might not be thinking correctly. But
well, I mean, if there was dinosaurs, then it would be millions of years.
That's all right.
What I'm saying is I might be confusing that with another comic because there was a Godzilla comic that did the same thing.
Right.
But I know that she got there, and it was like there were no other humans around. There might not have been.
You probably had 2 comic books together, and you're like, all right.
Well,
That's all right. I'm so tired tonight. I just couldn't even count tonight.
In the season pilot, the TV pilot of Supergirl, she was stuck in the Phantom Zone. She left. Krypton.
She got there late. Right.
She got there late. She left first, but she got there late, and she didn't age. She didn't age because she was stuck in the Phantom Zone, and time doesn't exist apparently in the same way in the Phantom Zone.
Right, so he was around for like. He was
they
around.
might be able to explain it that way. I don't know if that's the only way I can think of. Be able to explain the time differential.
Right. Okay. So in other words, he was Superman for like 10, 15, 20 years, right? While she's a kid on Earth.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. All right. So what else do we have article-wise? Do you want to do the Voltron one?
Somebody else can do that. I'm trying to
Okay.
confirm the Supergirl thing that I said because it's bothering me now.
Okay, you confirm it. Albert, could you
Yeah.
do the Voltron one?
Okay.
Yeah, I was right. Just before they started. Yeah, they crashed during a couple of thousand years after the Cretaceous period.
Oh, God.
They crash land in Canada,
Wow.
which I don't know if that would be around
because
at that
the
time.
Cretaceous
But
period would be like 65 billion years ago. So,
Yeah.
I said a couple of thousand years after. So
well, even a couple thousand years after, you're still talking the 2,000 years less than 65 million years.
well,
so,
I don't know how many thousand years it was, but it says here a few thousand years after the Cretaceous period. So
But I mean, there would still be a time differential problem. Is what I'm saying.
But
Yeah.
they would have to age. I mean, you saying they don't age?
well, they probably don't. In this continuity, they probably don't age like humans do.
I mean, she would be dead. I mean, she's gonna be around for like how many?
65 million years. I mean, even if you
Exactly.
tack on a few thousand years after the fact, like if she arrives a few
She
thousand
can't live that long. That's like, well, whatever.
Unless she's stuck in the Phantom Zone.
But she like the Time
Yeah.
Lords, where they just.
That's what I was saying. That would be the only way they could
Yeah.
rationalize it. Maybe she realizes, oh crap, I arrived back in time. I arrived in the wrong time, way too early, millions of years too early.
Well, in the
Maybe
comic,
yeah,
in the comic, they didn't send her to Earth like they did in the normal origin. Apparently, she just went there with another Kryptonian,
oh,
and they were just traveling there. And then they realized, hey, look at this stuff that the sun gives us. And then
maybe she makes a return to the Phantom Zone, and that's how she gets suspended in time.
yeah, it
I
could
don't
be.
know.
So she's definitely gonna appear in
Well, she could.
movies.
Well, I don't think she's gonna appear in Batman versus Superman, but I
We'll
think
probably
that
appear in
eventually-
Justice League.
See, this is a mistake that DC is making with all these different continuities. Maybe if they tie it in with the multiverse storyline in season 2 of Flash, it'll make more sense. But having like Batman versus Superman in a different universe from Arrow and Flash, and having Supergirl possibly in a different universe, it's too confusing. And
Yeah,
then
it's
Flash
well-
possibly in a different universe.
I agree.
think-
I don't see
I
why they
think-
would do that. Like,
You need a
Although
team chart.
although some people theorize that Gotham is in the same universe, because some people say that in one of the episodes you can see Oliver Quinn's building in one of the episodes.
I heard that. I heard.
what were you gonna say, Albert?
I think that DC made a huge mistake on the Flash movie. I think they just should have never made a Flash movie, like they're gonna do. They just should have tied it in with the TV show and Arrow and all that.
Yeah, because the Flash TV show is getting high ratings and it's
I
doing
agree.
really well. It's very popular. Why would you take away from that popularity with a competing Flash?
Because they're
With a
stupid.
different-
That's why.
Yeah,
They're probably
like
just-
wouldn't you just like? Because think about this: if you go by that, then not only do you have Superman already established, right? But you'll have the Flash already established. So now you have at least two. We're getting Batman in this next movie.
Green
Didn't
Arrow.
Didn't they mention Superman and Batman and Arrow already? Or is it me?
I think Arthur Darvill's character says something like, "I've seen
And
Man
you have
of Steel
you have
fall and Dark Knights crumble," or no, Man of Steel crumble and Dark Knights fall, or something like
But
that.
didn't Arrow mention? I don't remember. I thought he mentioned something about.
Well, if he did, they're like alternate universe versions. They're not the ones from Batman versus Superman.
Okay, everything's alternate
Well,
reality.
the way the only I mean, they do have an opportunity to do an excellent storyline if they stick with the multiverse, and then they explain that all these different versions are different universes in the multiverse. Then it'll be cool. It'll be like Crisis on Infinite Earths. It'll be a cool storyline.
You need a damn chart, basically.
You just
And if it's-
bring in the antimatter.
If it's the same Flash from the show, if they would have done that, then you would have people who are going to watch these movies be like, "Hey, I'm going to watch that show because this sounds like a good show," and that, then you'll get more ratings. So why wouldn't you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
I agree.
I don't understand that. I know I don't work in television, but like to me, it just makes sense. Like,
It does.
Yeah, it does. All right, I'm gonna do an article here. So, well, not an article, it's news. So, we got an update on Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It made some money. We have now the domestic total of 750 million, 230,824, about a little less than 10 million away, I think, from Avatar domestic. Also, the worldwide gross now is 1,536,330,824 dollars, and this is as of yesterday. So we don't know what it made today on Tuesday, which I said probably by Wednesday we probably would get a confirmation that Avatar is toast domestically.
Well, I
And
mean, worldwide gross, though, it's still far away from beating Avatar.
It's
Avatar,
not 10 million.
No,
Well,
that's
no,
not
I mean,
domestic.
Worldwide.
that's
I'm sorry. Worldwide is 2.7 billion. Yeah, I know.
It hasn't opened in China yet, so
True. Which
Yeah,
probably,
I heard China's a very small market because the
I don't
majority,
think so.
no.
No, it's not.
majority of the populace doesn't have access to.
No, man.
Terminator made like over 100 million, maybe 150 million, right?
Okay. In
Yeah,
China.
I did. I actually did that as a research project for my last semester, where I focused on the Chinese market.
Okay.
Like it used to be a small market, but ever since like 2 or 3 years ago, it's exploded, and nobody knows why. Like it just exploded in entertainment.
Well, I guess because China has been investing in a lot in their infrastructure,
Yeah,
and people have better access to movie theaters because they have more roads, they have more public transportation, they have
I mean, think of
they
like
have bullet trains in China. So go ahead.
you have the number, like you had the numbers from Terminator Salvation, right?
Yes,
Didn't
you
that
want
shoot through the roof when it came out in China?
Terminator Salvation or
I'm
Terminator
sorry,
Genesis?
Terminator Genesis. Terminator Genesis.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the numbers right now.
Because I know when Pacific Rim came out, it didn't do very well over here, but when it came out in China, it made so much money that like the next day they were like, yeah, we're making the sequel.
All right, so Terminator Genesis did 440,603,537. Now, as far as China market goes specifically, well, the foreign market was 350,842,581 alone, which was 79.6% of the total came from foreign markets. I know it was at least 100 or 150 from China alone. So let me just see if I can get the actual pinpoints.
If we're talking about box office mojo numbers, I just came to a very interesting realization the other day talking with Daniel off camera. It's a little bit off topic, but it has to do with Star Trek. If you take Star Trek the motion picture, the very first Star Trek film that was produced and written by Gene Roddenberry in 1979, and you adjust for inflation in today's dollars, Star Trek the motion picture did better than Star Trek in the Darkness as far as ticket sales. I mean, granted, Star Trek the motion picture only did 82 million, but in 1979, 82 million was considered a lot of money. And so if you adjust for inflation today, Star Trek the motion picture did about 300 million in today's dollars. And that's better than the 209 million that Star Trek in the Darkness did. So, and I was using this as an argument to prove, and actually Star Trek the motion picture, I didn't know this until recently, actually did slightly better at the box office than Wrath of Khan did. And I was like, see, that's what people want. They want a Gene Roddenberry-inspired Star Trek. Anyway, enough said.
All right, so it was basically, I'm trying to get the exact number from China. It was well over 100 million just in China alone.
Yeah, I know it was because of the Chinese market that they even started talking about doing a Terminator Genesis sequel, because at first they were like, nah, and then it came out in China, and they were like, oh, yeah, maybe we can.
We are going to get a sequel
very-
now because of that, but it's only going to be, wait a minute, 155 million in China. Wait. Hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Well, that's still surprising. So it did better internationally than it did domestically. That's unusual for Terminator.
Did Shanghai premiere? Hold on. Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. That's wrong. Wait a second. About 100 million or more. It doesn't really give me an actual thing here. No. Why can't it just give me actual figures? It's ridiculous. All right.
Well, whatever it was, it was like
Whatever. It was over
it was a
100
big
million.
enough amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess Terminator Genisys originally, when it premiered domestically, it didn't do that well. But then when it did what it did internationally, more than made up for it, and it's considered a successful film, mainly because of the worldwide gross, which is interesting. That it did poorly domestically, but did very well internationally.
That's a new trend now in the market too. That like, it's like when we get it. Like I know that other countries usually get movies before us, depending on the production company. But when now a new thing that producers and financial experts look at in the market is they look at the American and international market, but they almost take the Chinese market as its own market. They don't even look at it as part of the international, and they say, how did it do in China? And then these movies go to like Age of Extinction. I remember when that came out, it did well here, but it came out in China and it became the highest grossing movie of 2014. So
okay, I never saw Age of Extinction.
Weird.
Was that a cartoon? Or?
It was Transformers 4.
Oh God, I got burned out on Transformers after the second one, and I stopped watching them.
Yeah, I mean that's why it was actually because of that they were like, guess what? We're doing 5, 6, 7, and 8 with spin-offs. And it was like
I'm not gonna bother to see him. I'm not a big fan of Michael Bay.
Well, he's not doing all of them.
Oh, he's not?
The spin-offs are being directed by other. They've got some pretty big name directors for the spin-offs, which is nice. I think he's going to do.
Michael Bay is doing Transformers 5, though. I think.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I'm trying to get.
I think they're beating a dead horse to the ground with that one. The first Transformers movie was good, and the second one was really bad.
I mean, normally I would agree with that, but I mean, when you get the highest grossing movie of 2014 by a large margin, they're going to just keep doing them until people want to stop seeing them.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Iron Man 3 did very well, too. That was a crap movie, so.
Yeah, that was really bad.
All right, I give up looking for this.
I remember being in the theater with my friends, and we were just like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I mean, I was literally offended. I was expecting like a really badass showdown with the Mandarin and Iron Man. The Mandarin is Iron Man's #1 villain in the comics.
Yeah, I was let down too about that. I was pissed, actually.
Well, you know what I love too? Like, you know what the major argument for people who love that movie is?
What?
That the Mandarin isn't a big character, and everyone needs to get over it.
Well, if the Mandarin was a big character.
The main villain, he was very weak. He had the extremist superpowers, and I can't even remember the villain's name. He was just,
it was
just
Cillian
poorly
Murphy.
written. Okay.
The guy who made it in the comics.
He was just a poorly written villain, and his motivation for hating Stark was absurd and ridiculous. It made no sense that he would go to such lengths to do all that just because he got rejected for a business deal some years ago. It made no sense.
Yeah.
That was such a poor motive for a character, in my opinion. In my opinion, one of the best examples of a villain, you know, if you write the villain right, is like X-Men First Class. I really love the way they portrayed Magneto. He was a complicated character. You kind of felt sorry for him, even though you didn't agree with everything he did. And it was just that's the right way to write a character that's a villain, you know.
Yeah, I love that interpretation of him. I think they're continuing to do a good job with him too.
Yeah, Michael Fassbender, man, awesome as Magneto.
I love Michael Fassbender. He's awesome. So.
Yeah, he's a good actor. Good actor.
All right. What else we have? That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it, right?
pretty sure.
I think we would have to do another one because people couldn't come in, maybe. So we'll see. Let's just get off this cast and we'll see what happens. All right. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye for now.